Dinosaurs.
Welcome to episode 280 of the Working Fans Podcast. TikTok may be down, but we are up, and that is all because of, let me find the graphic. Game Up Hard Hydration. It's like your favorite sports drink and your favorite seltzer came together, merged together, had a baby, but it's so much better. Oh, tell them about it.
Happy New Year. Love that baby. All right. It comes in an 8-pack, 4 great flavors. Fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. And most importantly, guys, it's only 110 calories per can, so it's low carb, so you don't even have to worry about drinking it. You can just enjoy it.
And you can enjoy us talking about TikTok is down for the moment. So a lot of our content will be going on YouTube, will be going on Instagram, possibly on X. Dave, how are you holding up since TikTok went down?
I got 21 shorts in the bag ready to go. I've given them a week. That'll be 3 a day.
You hear that, TikTok? You got a week to get your shit straight.
Yeah, we can get together. CapCut, you too. I don't know if CapCut and TikTok connected. I didn't know that was going to happen.
I was going to tell you that off the air, that CapCut still seems to be working on my phone.
Oh, okay. All right. And
it was not funny down and out yet.
I got the notification on my phone yesterday. They were shutting down. But then when I went back on, it seemed like it was fine. But I was like, But then when I went back on TikTok was like, no, we're serious. So, very interesting.
I was watching a live last night. That might be the last live I catch it for a little bit. I'll tell you about that later, Dave. We have
let me know, by the way. Let me know if you can get on CapCut when you get off this episode, because I just went on there now, and they're like, sorry, we ain't available. So
who knows? Maybe a VPN could help us with that. Think about that too. But what I've been thinking about since Monday night was the debut of Penta. We knew it was coming for a while. We were excited about this. Dave, what did you think about it?
Okay. Now that we're got all that other stuff out of the way and distracted, let's talk about Penta. This was an awesome debut. All right. I love this photo. This is all great stuff. This is a guy, to me, whether it's AEW, whether it's Lucha Underground, TNA, no matter where he was, he's a guy, despite not being able to speak English, because of his presentation, because of the way he looks, because of his overall the way he moves around, he's really gotten over. And this week, I thought the WWE, especially, I thought it was really evident in a non-Vince McMahon era, presented him in a very big way. He got over, and he cut a promo afterwards in English and Spanish, and people went nuts for him. So We'll see how it goes, but I don't think you could have had a better home run for a debut.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes, I think this was one of the best debuts I've seen in a while for someone. Yeah. From the response you got from the crowd, from seeing his daughter ringside, from just seeing how good a match he was in, and then being able to take that moment. You know, there was rumors that he got heat backstage because of going long, which is weird because Netflix is a flexible show, and this show ended early. So I couldn't see how there would have been heat there. But I think they really did him a solid by not having him on the first one in a tag match, but being able to debut here on his own.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, just talking about debuts and stuff, the last time I saw an international talent really debut this good in WWE would have been, I want to say, 2016 in the NXT system when Nakamura showed up for that WrestleMania weekend. I want to say against Sami Zayn. Like, that was one of the more spectacular debuts I had seen in a long, long time from a talent that was coming elsewhere. And, I thought this was great. And one of the best debuts, like you said, we've seen in a while.
100%. Also on Raw, you had CM Punk referencing John Cena, declaring himself for the Royal Rumble. Yep. Seth Rollins declared for the Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre declared. So there was a lot going on. One of my favorite things from Raw was seeing the Philadelphia Eagles celebrating in the end zone, and Pat McAfee like tearing him up for messing up that pedigree. That was great. Mm-hmm. You had Daniel Cormier in the crowd, which was a nice crossover as well. So really big Raw. You know, we find out Wyatt Six went to SmackDown, and Lyra Valkyria became the first WWE women's IC champion. So a lot of big things happened that night.
So technically, there's a technicality there. She is the first. I don't know how to describe it, because China had the Intercontinental Championship, so she's been an Intercontinental. But yeah, I guess you're right. The way you said it was correct. She is the first woman's Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, because China had held the regular Intercontinental.
Right. We had a woman hold the Intercontinental title before, but yes.
So, that was a big debut. We have two big pay-per-views tonight that we're going to talk about. First one, very excited about the People versus GCW. Now, I know you are not as familiar with this card. So
you want to know? You want to know before we even get into it, though, what pops in my head as someone who's not familiar with this card? It's going to pop in my head right there. I'll let you read down it. But it's Josh Barnett and Baron Corbin in a Bloodsport match. But go ahead. Let's go through the card.
Really, for me, it was a couple former guests of the show on here. But we're going to start from the top. We're going to start from the top, the bottom of the card, work our way up. And you've got Amazing Red, Grim Reaper, and Homicide versus Griffin McCoy, Kerry Morton, Tony Deppen. I'm excited for this 6-man match. GCW does these matches well, where they bring in legends. They bring in newer guys.
Happy to see.
For me, I see it as Amazing Red, Reefer, and Homicide.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see Amazing Red part of this show. That's another one that I really got to love Amazing Red, especially in the early TNA Asylum days. You would see Amazing Red a lot.
100%. So do you have that team as well?
Yeah.
All right. We got a steel cage match. Former guest of the show, Richard Holiday versus Charles Mason. Even if I wasn't such a Richard Holiday fan, I would have him winning this. But it's great to see him in this position. Wasn't on the last Hammerstein show, gets to be on this one.
Another guy I'm excited for, yes, Richard Holiday. I will pick him as well. I am a little familiar with Charlie Mason, but I'm more familiar with Richard Holiday. So we'll go with Holiday.
And speaking of former guests of the show, speaking of more familiar, we have Megan Bayne versus Atticus Cogar.
Yes.
This is going to be a great match. We saw Megan Bayne on AEW this week. We will talk about it later. She's a presence in the ring. Definitely has the size advantage on Cogar. And I see her taking this win here.
I'll go. We're going to keep agreeing for now because I was excited to see Megan Bayne a part of this card as well.
And let's see if the agreements continue, because you have Masato Tanaka versus Joey Janela. I cannot wait for this match. This might be like the match of the night that I'm most excited.
I actually forgot about this when I read this. I was like, this is Masato Tanaka from the old FMW, ECW days, matches with Mike Awesome, cracking chairs over their head, trying to give each other brain damage. I'm excited for this. I gotta believe Joey Janela goes over here, though.
All right.
You can disagree. Maybe Joey puts them over. I don't know.
It's tough because, you would think Janela would win. Just to be different, I'm going to go with Masato Tanaka, so not everything's in agreement.
Okay.
Very interesting match midway through this card. Matt Cardona versus question mark.
Yeah, no clue.
I think you already know what my prediction is.
Ricky Starks. No, what you got?
You don't remember, do you?
Mm-mm.
No, I had versus Chris Jericho for the ROH title. And Cardona wins the ROH title in the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yeah.
Huge moment.
Funny you say that, because I was actually thinking that'd be really cool. But I also thought to myself, that's not going to happen now. So I'm just not going to go with it. I'd like to say that's cool. I don't know what they got planned. You know what? I'll go with a surprise. How about this? WWE's playing nice with everybody these days. Chelsea Green makes a surprise appearance, and we have an intergender match between Chelsea and Cardona.
Ooh. Okay. I like it. And who do you have winning that, Cardona or Green?
Well, call it a smudge. There'll be something will happen. No winner.
Okay. Very interesting. I don't even have a category for that, so I'm gonna have to write that.
Yeah. Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green wins. We'll go Chelsea.
We'll say no contest.
She's doing Matt's doing the job.
All right, we have another. This is going to be an interesting match. Little Guido, Tajiri, and Super Crazy versus Arez, Ringo Loco, and Jack Cartwheel.
I'm going to go Cartwheel, Rez, and Gringo Loco because I think the newer guys will probably go over in this situation.
Okay.
I'm
going to agree, but I think this match is going to be like one of a few standout matches.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, we have a blood sport match, which you brought up earlier.
Yeah,
Josh Barnett versus Tom Pestock, the former Baron Corbin.
I'll go Barnett. Although if you really want to get people talking, it would be interesting if the former Baron Corbin beat Barnett at a Bloodsport match here. But I'll go Barnett.
I'm going to be different on this one. I'm going to say Tom Pestock. I feel like, this is a big moment. This will get eyes on the product. People will be talking about this. Sure. I feel like there's already eyes on this match since this was announced. That's just me, though.
Yeah.
It's very
He could end up being a player in GCW and independent circuit with a win like this if that's what he desires to do. I don't know if he does, but it'll be interesting.
All right, Dave, this is going to be a great match, but I don't know if you're going to be able to call the winner because it's the GCW Extreme and the GCW Ultra Violent title unification match. It's a DLC match, and you have Maki Ito versus Matthew Justice versus John Wayne Murdoch versus Matt Tremont versus Rina Yamashita versus Brandon Kirk versus Dr. Redacted versus Drew Parker. Big. These typically are death match and more extreme match wrestlers. I don't know what they're going to be able to do in the Hammerstein Ballroom. I'm going to call it Matt Tremont.
Maki Ito.
Okay.
She'll pin Tremont.
Making it interesting now. So the next matchup is El Hijo del Vikingo versus Sidney Hakim.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know much about Sidney Hakim.
Yes, so that's Reggie from WWE days, the guy that was flipping around everywhere at the 24/7 title. Yeah, that's that guy.
I'm all of a sudden now much more interested in this match.
Who's he wrestling again? I'm sorry.
El Hijo del Vikingo.
Okay, I'll go Hijo del Vikingo. But yes, that is who he's wrestling. But yes.
All right, I'm gonna give it to the same person. Sorry, I had a kitten trying to climb my leg. That hurt like a motherfucker. Next up, Dominic Garrini and Kevin Koo. Violence is Forever. Former guest of the show, Dominic Garrini and Kevin Koo versus former guest of the show, Alec Price and Cole Radrick. We got former guests all over this. It's for
Cole and Alec.
All right, it's for the tag team championships.
Cole and Alec.
Cole and Alec are taking it.
Taking it. What do I know?
I'm right there with you.
Oh shit!
And a very interesting match. So number one contendership for the main event. It's going to be Effie versus Alley Catch. I got Effie in this one because I feel like the main event is going to be Effie versus Mance Warner. And you got Effie as well?
Yeah, I'm going to go Effie because Effie's been making a lot of waves, and I feel like Effie has kind of been almost a franchise of GCW lately, where that was Nick Gage a while, where you like look around the media and stuff and people making news and talking about GCW and saying, I feel like Effie's been that guy. So I will say that will continue. I say Effie wins here, and I say Effie goes on and becomes GCW heavyweight champion as well.
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one. I really like Mance Warner as that GCW champion. You talked me into it, Dave. I got to agree with you on Effie on that one. So that is a huge match. Sorry, moving around papers here. The next event, we have another pay-per-view tonight, TNA Genesis. This was very interesting because this week there was the announcement that WWE is going to be working with TNA, and Genesis got co-branded like
Yeah.
TNA NXT Genesis not
Yeah.
too long after that. As the
Oh,
card
cool.
stands right now, there's not a lot of crossover. Who do you
No.
expect to see tonight? What NXT involvement will we have?
I don't know. But if you're asking me to give you some kind of guess, I'll just go with ooh. All right, I'll go with a couple guess. Roxanne Perez, even though I think she's coming up to the main roster soon. I'll say she makes an appearance here. Charlie Dempsey, because Dempsey seems to like makes appearances everywhere. TNA, Bloodsport, All Japan, you name it. And if we're gonna, keep a lot of things going on, maybe former champ Trick Williams, since nothing's going on with him right now.
Very interesting. Now we'll go up and down this card, see what we got ahead of us tonight. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards versus Eric Young and Steve Macklin. I honestly haven't been watching a lot of TNA.
Yeah.
I don't know where the momentum is. I'm going to go Young and Macklin, though.
I'll go the opposite. I'll go Myers and Edwards, even though I think they've been champs. Or are they champs now? Is this a tag title match?
Ooh, I do not have.
Probably
No,
not.
it is not.
You had that, yeah, because they were champs at one point. So, but I'll go with Myers and Edwards. I know they've been a team for a while. So,
okay, very interesting match. Tessa Blanchard making her pay-per-view re-debut versus Jordan Grace. I think with everything around where Grace may be headed, and just the fact that Tessa's coming back in, it's got to be Tessa's win tonight. Am I right?
I was going to say, get ready to be pissed off for the people who are upset that Tessa Blanchard's back because she's going over. That's my opinion too. You didn't bring her back for no reason, so she's going over.
A very interesting match. Josh Alexander versus Mike Santana in an I Quit match. Love seeing an I Quit match added to the card.
Yeah, I'll go Santana. Alexander's been a real franchise player for TNA the last few years, but Mike Santana could probably use a real definitive win like this. And as a guy, I believe he's the babyface in this match. Then I would say he should find a way to win.
Yeah, I don't want to see Alexander lose this, but the momentum that Santana's had, I feel like it's got to be him as well. We have a TNA Knockouts tag team title match. Spitfire versus Ash and Heather by Elegance.
Spitfire's been a great team since I've been watching this. I'll continue to support them, and we'll just see what happens.
You going with Spitfire?
I will.
All right. I'm going to go Ash and Heather by Elegance. Just because I don't know entirely much about them. I know Ash and Heather are kind of like newer as far as I remember. Like I said,
Ash
I'm is my TNA.
Ash was the Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke WWE. That I know.
And I didn't know who Heather by Elegance was, but I feel like they got this one. TNA X Division Championship match. Moose versus Ace Austin.
Yes. Moose is the X Division champion, I believe, here right now. I'll say, I'll say Moose is going to continue to reign supreme here.
All right, I'm going to go with Ace Austin. I like his high-flying nature. I just feel good about that. Okay, I was reading my handwriting here. It was a little messy. TNA Knockouts Championship match in a Clockwork Orange match. Masha Slamovich versus Rosemary. I hope they don't go full Clockwork Orange, but I mean, we could take like the cut that you could show on TV.
I'm going to go Masha Slamovich. She's worked hard in this position to get in here. I think she wins. She was even shown on NXT this week. So,
yeah, I'm going to go with Rosemary. For me, it's hard to pick against Rosemary, although Masha does seem like the smart choice for this.
Get the momentum, I think.
Yep, and we got the TNA Tag Team Championship match. Hardys versus the Rascals. I like the Hardys. I want them to do well. But if you're putting them up against a team like the Rascals, how do the Rascals not win?
I gotta agree. I'll go on Rascals with you on this one.
All right, and now I did our last TikTok live yesterday, And I don't know if somebody was trying to troll us, but they were saying they don't see the appeal in Joe Hendry. They find it to be a lame character. But you have Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry for the TNA Heavyweight Championship. I'm calling it for Joe Hendry tonight.
I agree. I'll just say this. I was listening to Wrestling Observer Live, and Filthy Tom Lawler was talking about the relationship with TNA and WWE, and he said he did feel that Joe Henry's character has cooled a little bit because, not having the plug pulled on him yet, but they both agreed that could all change if he enters the Royal Rumble. I say he enters the Royal Rumble, but he enters the Royal Rumble as the TNA Heavyweight Champion. And I'm going to add this to it. We've had TNA Knockouts champions the last 2 years at the Royal Rumble. We haven't had a men's champion yet. This will be the year.
Ooh, very interesting. Now, I don't know how much you were up on the news this week, but I saw a story that I wanted to play. And if you thought my photo game was on point before this, this is where I feel like I hit my artistic high. So did you hear this Jim Ross story at all this week?
Yeah, you can correct me. I want to say it. I believe that he said, and this was on his show, that Sonny had made him an offer to come in, cook for him, clean for him, and service him in the bedroom. And he said no deal. He realized that was a lot of trouble from the get-go. I know there's been a few people that's commented here and there that have speculated that maybe Jim might have been interested at one point too, but regardless, it's a weird story. I'm surprised that Jim's even brought that up.
I mean, I enjoy it. One of my favorite quotes was, and I thought about it for like 10 seconds, no way in hell. Which to me, Dave, if there's no way in hell, would you think about it for 10 seconds?
No. I mean, he could have just been trying to be funny, but, because I remember there was some show I watched one time, and they had to kick their kid out of the house because he was like gambling, and this was like the 70s, right? He was gambling, he was drinking, and they didn't want anybody, selling drugs in their house too. He was also, and the mom said, I had to kick him out. She said, I had to really think it over. It was the hardest 10 seconds of my life. Basically, I knew, I don't care if he's my son. If he's selling drugs to the neighborhood, I don't want him in my house no more. So anyway, maybe that was what Jim was trying to do. But hey, I would not. I don't know how this was good attention for anybody.
I know, like, if she had moved in with him, how much faster would that have accelerated, like, the health issues he's been through and the existing issues he had?
Oh, yeah. No, Jim, maybe he's not a little careful with the stories he likes to get out there, but I feel like he's careful with his money and how he wants to go forward in his life. So, yeah, he knew. He was careful.
I want to check out this episode to see how it was said, because it's funny how, like, look at the picture here with Sonny. I'm sorry. These cats are battling behind me. I'm trying to stop them. But you know who else battled this week? Was Kenny Omega and Brian Cage. Kenny's return to AEW TV. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I was all right. I mean, it was a good match. Brian Cage gets to showcase his abilities, but man, I just don't feel like they've ever made Brian Cage feel like a credible threat to anybody at Kenny Omega's level in AEW. Like, I feel like he's capable of winning a Ring of Honor TV title. He'll be a 6-man champion or a trios champion. But, that's about where Brian Cage seems to be in this company. And that's something that always takes away from me a little bit.
I thought it was the greatest Brian Cage match I've seen in a while. And, like, we haven't seen as much of him. He shows up more on the ROHs, more on the pre-shows. I thought he looked like $1 million in the ring with Kenny. Kenny was featured great. A lot of other things went on this show. Ospreay came down to save Omega in the post-match beatdown. It almost looks like you've got the Callis family versus Omega and Ospreay, which is interesting. First time MVP wrestled in 2.5 years.
Yeah. Well, Hobbs had his title shot, and obviously he came close with Moxley They Pillmanized his leg afterwards. Moxley and the other Death Riders. Copeland and FTR, I believe, made the save. So we're continuing that rivalry. There's some good talent in AEW. What do you think of the setup of this arena? I kind of liked it.
Very interesting. Sometimes, you could see from the shot here, sometimes they got odd shots of empty seats, and that's not picking on AEW, but it's just the way, like the camera was focused for some of the time. I thought it was a shame during the Hurt Business match that they had to go to picture-in-picture. Because, I like seeing the big matches that I want to see in AEW in an arena like this that doesn't look traditional.
No, I like it. It's more of an intimate setting, I thought. So.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Jeff Jarrett versus MJF segment?
I thought it went long. And honestly, as much as I've liked a lot of MJF's kind of low-hanging fruit humor a lot of times, I don't know if it was Jeff trying to match him or what. I like Jeff Jarrett. I think Jarrett could be a good promo, but everything just felt kind of forced and long here, I thought, for me.
Yeah, talking about forced, you had Hook versus Christian Cage. Yeah. I thought this was an match, but it had a storyline going in, which, is a shame because everybody clowns on AEW for not having the good storytelling. Yet when they have a match that does have this long storytelling, nobody cares. You had the big return of Samoa Joe, which I thought was major. Nice. And it has me excited for AEW in a way again, because you're bringing this guy back who's great in the ring.
It is interesting. The timing of all this, too. Omega just came back. Samoa Joe just came back. And we are gearing up for a couple big AEW pay-per-views this year. Grand Slam's going to be in Australia. They added that now to the pay-per-view lineup. And obviously, All In is in Arlington Stadium in Texas, which is going to be their biggest show.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that happened on this show, I saved the best for last. Not former guest of the show, somebody who we called her match, made her AEW debut in that casino match, and I thought it was great to see.
Yeah, Megan Bayne was part of the Casino Battle Royal. Overall, I enjoyed the Women's Casino Battle Royal. Toni Storm got the victory. I'm not sure how I feel about the
gauntlet match.
Yeah, but isn't it the Casino Battle Royal? That's part of it, right?
No, it's like a casino gauntlet match to become the number one contender. Because it wasn't over the top rope, and the first two people in the ring could have pinned and ended it there.
That's right. You're right. So yeah, Toni Storm gets to win here anyway, and I'm happy that Tony's going to Australia to wrestle Mariah May. So it should be interesting.
100%. And I am happy to talk tag team wrestling. TikTok may be down, but our ability to find out or make you pick between two of the greatest tag teams to step into a WWF WWE ring. You've got the Brainbusters, classic 90s tag team, 80s, 90s, up against the Usos, classic 2010, 2020 team. I love this comparison. I find it hard to pick. If you're forced to answer the question, which side do you kind of really settle in on, Dave?
Well, if you're going with accolades as a team, Toei and AA were champions in NWA and WWF at the time. So they were a great team. If you're going by, but the Usos have had many WWE tag titles. They're the longest reigning WWE/WWF tag champs in the history of tag teams. They've main evented Mania. So I feel like, if you're going by accolades in professional wrestling, I'd go Usos. But I will say this, if you're going just by tag team wrestling, which is subjective and what you like, to me, there isn't, other than maybe the Midnight Express, I don't know if there's a better double team, tag team group I liked more than Anderson and Blanchard. The way sometimes Tully would lure in a wrestler, get to chase them, they turn around, there's Iron Anderson with that clothesline, or sets him up with a spine buster, the double spike pile driver. I absolutely love the way Anderson and Blanchard work together.
Yeah, Anderson and Blanchard were such a great team in ring. All time, they got to be one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm forced to choose in this situation, I almost have to go the Usos because they have such great natural timing.
They do.
Being brothers, being twins as well. They're, almost naturally as locked in as it took Arn and Tully to like work their way to.
And I would go so far too. I guess I'd just say this too. If you think tag teams, you tend to probably think more like the Usos. Anderson and Blanchard worked hard to be that team, but I mean, it's kind of the comparison. I also look at Double A as a singles wrestler, and I look at Tully as a single. Jay's becoming a single wrestler now too, but how hard has he had to work to overcome that?
100%. And is there anything else in wrestling that kind of caught your eye this week? I know now that you don't have TikTok to throw your thoughts out to the world. We got to get them to the people somehow. So let's get it direct. What else is on your mind? What else are you thinking about in wrestling this week?
I thought SmackDown wasn't as bad as the week before, but I'm still not enjoying the 3 hours. I thought that was a bit long. NXT is becoming one of my favorite shows of the week consistently now. I'm enjoying AEW more again. These Raw shows feel like spectacles so far still. I enjoy it, but it feels like a big spectacle. It's almost like I wonder how long they can keep that up. I also like the fact it's a 2.5 hour show. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily going to 3 hours. I think that was fun.
Yeah, they made their way to that this week, which was nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can't say. I think we talked about pretty much everything we could talk about this week in terms of what's going on in the wrestling business. I am excited for the Royal Rumble. Obviously, we got Roman Reigns, Cena, Punk, Rollins, like you name it. This is a stacked Royal Rumble. I'm interested in Saturday night's main event. Okay, I got one for you. There is a match I'm interested in Saturday night's main event. It just got booked. Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu.
Ooh, that's interesting. You got that. You've got Jey Uso versus Gunther. Like,
yeah,
those are two big matches to, pull people in.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Fatu has to be Strowman, right?
Yes. Yeah, no offense. They've been doing a good job of protecting Braun since coming back and making him feel like a big attraction and stuff. And they've had a few stare downs with him and Jacob Fatu to build the match. But this is about Jacob Fatu right now. This guy's money. You don't have him job yet. No.
100%. And oh man, Dave, I got one more thing to talk about today.
Yeah.
It's Game Up Hard Hydration.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.
Hey fans, it's the man they call Dave with producer Joe, and you probably know us as the commentary team for New Heights Pro Wrestling, but when we're not doing that, we got a podcast.
That is the Working Fans Podcast, where we talk pro wrestling, comedy, MMA, and so much more.
And tell them about that signature segment.
Oh, you talk about the 531?
You know I am.
That is a homegrown creation that has been our namesake. And if you want to know our namesake, we got Chevy, AJ Strange Brew, as well as the two of us.
And why don't you go to our channel, like, subscribe, show us some love.
Rate, review, all of it.
Hey, all you got young wrestling fans out there, listen, Old Black Bart has got a book. It's called Wrestle. Right there. It's got some dead good stories in there about some dead good wrestlers.
Read stories of Dusty Rhodes, the Von Erich, Scott Casey, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Ron Bass, Bruiser Brody, Mike Davis, the Grappler, and many others.
And I guarantee you one thing. that it'll be the best dadgum read you've had in a long, long time.
Get your book today at Russellville.com or on Amazon. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Author Ray Lopez presents Lockup, Professional Wrestling in Our World. Lockup dives headfirst into the colorful world of professional wrestling. Explore the iconic characters, careers, matches, history, and families, and delve into the bizarre and fascinating entwining of professional wrestling and film, television, football, politics, gender, and race. Pre-orders are available now on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com. This is the perfect gift for the wrestling fan in your life. Pick up a copy today on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories, including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.